Hi everyone. How many people really know the real you?
I'm consistent across the room.
How do you maintain your peace and calm?
Your first action is to resolve.
Hi everyone. Welcome back to yet another episode of She Moves Cargo. I hope that what we are trying to achieve here you all are going to enjoy, and today's episode is actually very special is because when we were planning the women that we wanted to interview for this particular podcast series, her name was pretty much in the top 5. Everybody knows her, but I doubt anybody really knows her. And for me, when we talk about somebody who has power, who has charm, who has elegance, and there is a little bit of mystery attached to her, I could think of nobody better than Sharmila Amin. So, my today's guest is a dear friend of mine, Sharmila. Coincidentally or weirdly, we didn't meet at work. We actually met out of work because both of us are part of another club called the CEO Forum. She has always fascinated me. Genuinely, she's one of the few women that is surrounded by wit. Forget the charm. I mean, she exudes and exudes the whole bunch of it, but she's also one of the best dressed women in the industry that I know of. I am delighted to introduce Sharmila Amin to you. Sharmila, welcome to the episode of She Moves Cargo.
Such a fantastic beginning and introduction. I really, it's when I met you first. It's not just that I know you, Chaitali. Must be some bond that we carried, and I always say respect is to be earned.
Yes.
And I think we have that mutual admiration for each other, not just for the heck of saying that we like each other or we admire each other.
Yes.
Looking at your own career growth path, itself is an achievement, because it's very
Thank you.
rare to find women even in the air sector where you are today. And you made it with all the big boys around us. I call them the boys around us, and we are the men now with the boys. And so it's literally, thank you for the introduction. And
Thank you. I
thank you
meant
for-
every word of
and
it.
I'm so glad that I have somebody like you doing this podcast more than anybody else. Because
Thank you.
You're right. You'd rather do it with somebody you're more comfortable with
Yes.
than just somebody taking my interview.
Yes.
So I'm glad I had you today.
Thank you. Having said that, the idea today is that she is probably the most popular woman that we have in India today. And I do not talk in terms of the logistics substream or the industry that she comes from. I am talking that she is probably one of the most decorated, felicitated person, and I'm not going to say women because it's gender non-par, and she has achieved everything due to sheer hard work and grit. Today is just a glimpse into what makes Sharmila who she is and why is she considered to be one of the most powerful women in India and why she is a powerhouse. So Sharmila, I have to ask you this question. How many people really know the real you? The people, when we meet socially, the ones who say, oh, Sharmila is my friend, or your family, obviously, or the school friends, who really knows who the real Sharmila Amin is?
You know what, really, there is no fragmentation. I'm consistent across the room, whether it's publicly, whether it's at home. Yes, you are right, but in public, you do tend to behave. You do tend to have a kind of a barrier against you, and you wear the decorum that you need to do while you're in public. At
Yes.
home, I'm the same warm, loving, fun loving person everybody knows me to be. So I think everybody has these two sides of a coin,
Yes.
like we say. So the same personality applies to me. But if everybody knows me, once they get to know me, I'm the same, if you ask me. Honestly, if whether I would be in public or whether I'd be with you in a closed room or I would be out of business with you, I would be the same warm, friendly person, always looking out to help people.
Yes.
You learn so much from others, you would like to impart that knowledge
Of
and
course.
help to others.
Absolutely.
So I'm that real person.
Thank you. I'm sure there would be people who would say there are different aspects, and I think that's very true because when you're a public figure, like we are, there are certain masks that we have to wear at certain points because not everybody is okay wanting to see us at our most
Absolutely.
vulnerable. They will prefer that, oh, we have to be like this diva kind of thing, always proper and just to be in the best of the mood. So they don't want us to have emotions and all. But this is a real industry. So thank you very much for that. I have the one thing that has always fascinated me is why projects. So, did the project industry go looking for you, or did you go seeking for it?
It all happened by mistake. Actually, it happened all by mistake. I actually wanted to become an air hostess.
Okay,
And so I applied at Air India when I was hardly, I think, 17, just after finishing my college. And my father said, "Do you know, you probably have to clean people's vomits and all that." And for me, that was like, look, I've never done this in my life. And
correct,
so he picked up the phone and called Mr. Gazdar, at that time in Travel, which was one of the biggest air
guy,
freight travel agencies, and said, "Can you please take my daughter?" And so that at least this fascination of her doing this gets off and allow her to roam the world.
correct,
So he said, please do that. Not that I hadn't seen the world. I'd already been to America. And for me, it was like, okay, this is where I need to be. And I was there for a year and I
right,
want to do all this. So whilst I was there, Air Freight at that time had just set up its first sea freight division. In those days, I'm talking in 1986,
okay,
called Herman Ludwig, which is no more, which is
okay,
then became Lep Larsen Culberson, which is again became French, Swiss, and British.
okay,
So all the three companies got further breakman. And there was a Swiss German gentleman
all right,
who was actually in charge of setting up that department. And so, whilst I was in the travel department one day in my various departmental trainings in AFL, I went through the various stages of it. And he said, to Mr. Gaza, that's the woman, just pick her up. And they called me and they said, you know what, would you like to join projects? And for me, who just come back from America and not heard of what the hell are they talking
correct,
about, for me, life was luxury. For me, life was enjoying life, being the daughter of a person who was very well known in the construction
yes,
industry in India. So for me, this was, what is he talking? And I said, oh, and my father's an engineer. I'm not even close to being an engineer. He wants me to talk with, to be
correct,
like your dad. And I was like, what is he talking? I didn't reply. I went away for my friend's wedding. And so I got a firing when I came back from Mr. Ghar saying, you have no responsibility to even inform that you go away like this on holidays. And I said, oh, but I did inform my departmental head, And they said, we don't think so. There is no written paper. So what happens? You always take advantage of your father's position to misbehave. And
yes,
that's what I did. And which I realized in hindsight was not right, what I was doing. But I was so young at that time, hardly 22. So it gave
correct,
me the leverage to do this kind of
right,
nonsense. And so they said, the manager, they said, please go from here because, the owners never see me in 20 years. Because of you, they've come here every single day and I have to wear my tie much proper than I wear it. So he said, take your pen, pencil, and just go from here. So I got transported into this project department. Believe me, the first shock I got was everybody was over 50 plus.
oh wow,
And I was that piddly little, half
yes,
my size of what I am now,
yes,
literally hardly 45 kgs. And I'm wondering, I said, sitting there with this and wondering what is projects. And in those days, the first big one was the Indo-Gulf Fertilizer Project in
okay.
Jagdishpur. Now, I've never even heard of Jagdishpur. So
I
to
haven't till
imagine,
you spoke right now, till you
it's
mentioned
a
it.
little bit place from Lucknow, and it was the first Birla thing. It was initially started with the Gulf, and they walked out, and so the Birlas took over.
Okay,
And so that was the project. And I was sitting there and talking pipes, heat exchangers, and I'm wondering what are all these things in my commerce. I've never heard of such things. Okay, you do finance, you do maths, but you don't know what the hell is this, all this, in a port and, these workers coming on cycles. In those days, Bombay
yes,
port was chaos.
yes, yes,
And so I
yes,
was there with this Swiss guy, transported, and all the job was with Novo Pignoni, an Italian setup in STEM Progetti. And all these foreigners and, Birla Group people and everybody sitting, and all men over 60 plus. And you said, what am I doing? I'm talking about going, flying
yes,
around, seeing the world and all that.
yes,
And so they just dumped me. And so I used to sit there, be a lazy, go for lunch to L&T House because, my
yeah.
dad was there, wait for the car to come at 5 o'clock to take me home because I did not know how to go home from Bellat Pier to Altamont Road. So bad. You can imagine how
You are
bad I
like a
was.
typical sober white, but
Absolute.
just 40 years.
I mean, I was so bad. And when I think of those days, what the hell was I doing? Literally, I would not know how to go home. So bad I was. I used to think I'm in another world. So one day, this Swiss guy said, you have no shame. And I looked at him and I said, my life, nobody talks to me in this manner. I have no shame. I said, why should I be ashamed of anything? What are you talking? He says, every nonsense that you do is because of your father. You
Yeah,
know, if I take away that name,
correct.
who are
Who are
you?
you?
You will be like one of those guys outside in Ballad Pier, you see those beggars outside? And I'm calling me a beggar? They became even worse than what he was already telling me. So I first took my bag, called up somebody in the office and said, "Can you please send me a car to go home?" Because I didn't even know how to car to go home, a bus to go home. I went away home. Mr. Gazda came next day, very decent of him, tell me, "No, no, don't feel bad about it." And you should. I said, "But he called me a beggar, he called me a servant, he called me, he said, you're adding now some more," and which I did, of course. And then I sat at home for 3 days. Finally, on the fourth day, I said, actually, what he said is correct. If I do not have my father's name,
Yes,
which is right, who the hell is Sharmila Amin? And you know what? Now I'm so angry. For me, that became like I have to become now even more better, even more famous than my father, and that is my life's ambition and goal. And so I said, okay. I packed my things and I went back to the office. And there it is. And I said, okay, now tell me, what am I supposed to do? And that's how I got serious into doing this first project.
fabulous, fabulous.
Absolutely unbelievable. And that's how I actually then got serious and said that is the journey that started. And then it became such an ambition, and like it's like it's in your blood, right?
Yes,
You just cannot imagine that you don't want to do it. I want to
correct.
do every project. I want to be the first of every project in the
Yes,
country. And that ambition and drive became so much that you forgot to look at your personal life.
correct.
I actually overlooked my personal life so much. I pity my mother, who had to say no to all the families that used to come and say, we want to get married to your daughter. And so the working became like a really ambition and a goal, which I had said, unless I don't achieve it, I'm not going to rest.
It is so uncanny. Certain parts of your journey do not anywhere come close to what my journey has been. My father would have thrown me out of the house if I behaved like this. But my entering was a mistake too. It was not a mistake. My entering was also, it was not supposed to have happened like that. And I also wanted to travel. So for the life of me, ever since I was 3 years old, America was on the other side of the
Awesome.
hill. So whenever we would go on those long drives, I would ask my dad, "So is America?" Because my Masi lived there. So I'm like, you know what? This is the hill. Beyond the hill is
Hill is
America.
America.
And I am going to America. So obviously my parents indulged my fantasies
Fantasy.
that America's on the other side. I learned to roll my R's. I started writing the way, I thought the Americans would write. Because
How lovely.
genuinely, the only thing I knew was America to jawud che kind of a thing. Of course, I landed up going to America much later, but it was there. And then I wanted to also be an air hostess. Your uncle told you that you'll have to pick up vomit. I think, was it my grandfather or somebody else? I can't remember. Told me, but તારે તો લોકોની ટ્રે ઉપાડવી પડશે અને તારે બધું સાફ કરવું પડશે. But I was always working in the house
House.
since I was 13 years old. But he put it up in such a way. I said, okay, maybe then I'm not
I'm not
supposed
supposed
to
to
do
do
this.
this.
Then I thought I'll be a criminal lawyer, and my father's like, you'll come home in a dead, you'll come home in a body bag. So do you think you want to change that? So I was just thinking about where it is, and eventually I just wanted to be a housewife and have children. I am thousands, I'm like a moon to the Jupiter, far away from all of that. And Gujju families, right?
Absolutely.
So when the proposals and all started
Start
coming
coming in.
in, they were like, but you'll have to give up work. And I'm like, why will I give up work? I can do. And my mother drilled in. Rasoi karta nahi avde. If you don't know how to switch on the gas, you don't know how to do rotli, you don't know how to manage the servants, you could be the president, but you're still a failure as a woman. So keeping that in
In
mind, I
mind.
went like, I look after the house whenever my mother is not well. I'm looking at the office. Why do I have to sit at home? And I said, I can't do all this kitty party crap and things like that. So the boys came, and then the boys said no. I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. And there was one guy who had the audacity to tell me, you're not an MBA, you won't understand our
Oh.
jargon, so I can't take you out to with my friends. I said, do you know how much money I make for my father?
Uh,
Nobody's ever asked me my degree
degree.
when they are giving me the
Absolutely
business. I
business.
said, do you have any shame? And I was so upset. I said, you know what? Forget you. I don't want to do it. And I think it's just maybe that's why I don't like MBA people too much, because I feel that they have a little bit of that chip on their
Chip on
shoulder.
shoulders.
And I was like, I don't need to understand your jargon to make a conversation with somebody. So, like you, I was told that you're not going to be successful at work because of your looks and all. And I went like,
Hello.
Crap,
Absolutely.
nonsense. So my 20s went away with that fire in the belly that I have to be somebody,
Somebody.
I have to do. And in my case, because I was always surrounded by pretty women, tall women, beautiful women, boys used to be friends with me to get introduced to them.
Them.
So you are, so, so you are visibly
Visibly
invisible.
invisible.
And it's a cruel world, right?
Yep.
So body shaming happened at a much earlier stage. But that time the word body shaming was not
Not
there.
there.
So I was like, and then it also multiplied that when I would go to a party and Dad was not around, Harish Bhai was not around, people wouldn't say hi to me. They would say, "Acha, tu avi che. So where's Harish Bhai?" So it happened one time, two times, three times, and then I said, you know what? I am here. My father hasn't come. Would you like to talk to me? And then I would go home and I would tell him, I said, you know what? Next time you're not coming and you're ditching me like this, I'm wearing a placard saying that I'm Chaitali Mehta. I am Harish Bhai's daughter, but I also have a mouth. I can also speak. Would you like to say hi to me? And he's like, you're just getting offended. I said, no, but you can do this once, you can do this twice, you can
Twice.
do this thrice. And then it just went on. So the same thing, I completely understand. It's so uncanny. Our paths may be a little different.
Different.
Of course, I didn't have the L of luxury in my life. I had to go by bus. I refused to travel by train, and I didn't get a car for a very long time. But when you mentioned that incident of not knowing how to go from Kolaba, remind me of my first day at college. I went to HR, much against my father's wishes. Su thai jaise bichari chokri. I said the whole world goes. Mom went to Jai Hind, so I can also go to HR. And I met these bunch of girls, all of us, same age, Queen Marians, and all of them others. And they said, where do you live? And I said, I live at Matunga. And they're like, where is Matunga? Is it in Bombay? I said, that's that's the height.
That's HR.
And that's HR and that's South Bombay. And my cousins are all South Bombay. So my soul is in South Bombay because I spent holidays, vacations at my nani's house, Darya Mahal. So all of that. And I went like, do you even know what you're saying? And I still remember this girl. She walks into my classroom, okay, full on. You know what happened today? And we look at her and go like, what happened? I travel by bus. And I look at her and say, but I to travel by bus every day. So I was like, why is this such a big deal? And she says, but do you know to travel from Altmount Road to Churchgate? So your story
Sorry.
reminded me of hers 20 years ago. And I was like, man, and
But
my.
I was so bad that one day my friends took me by bus. Now I didn't know the system that there are bus stops. And the bus stops are bus stops. So when it came close to the bridge at Altamount Road, I pulled the bell. So क्या हुआ? I said, I have to get down here. He said, what's wrong with you? ये बस स्टॉप नहीं है, अब क्या कर रहा है? I said, देखो बस स्टॉप है नहीं मालूम, हमको इधर उतरना है. So my friends even today remember and said, do you know what you did? The whole bus was chock-a-block full and you even pulled the ting without understanding. I said, you know what it reminded me of? I thought it was Venice. In Venice, you have these boats. And when you want to stop somewhere in Venice, you pull the bell.
Venice to a PST bus.
So I thought you can pull the bell and the bus can stop wherever it wants to stop for you. And so the fellow said, get down. आप उतर जाओ पहले उतरो नीचे, and I said, okay, thank you, it was great for me, you stopped where I wanted to. And they said, next time you're not traveling with you. This is embarrassing. And the whole bus was like, कौन है उसको मारो उसको उतारो नीचे, kind of right there at
This is
Pedder
so
Road.
hilarious. This is so hilarious.
I can never forget that day. And I was thinking, this is like, so what? This is like Venice. This is great. The bus can stop. The bell is there. The idea was, the bell is there. And the bell is to pull to stop the bus. Not understanding there are bus stops.
I think the buses are happy you're not traveling by bus.
So this
Now,
was fun that day.
now I haven't traveled in a bus in a very long time. So when people ask, I go, okay, I travel by car. So especially when I'm abroad and everybody's talking and I don't drive. So they say, how do you travel? I said, I travel by car. So they said, Acha, you drive? I said, no, I don't drive. Oh, really? I said, yeah, because of courtesy, my dear darling father, I don't drive cars anymore. So, okay, how do you do it? I said, cabs. Or, in India, it's very normal to have a driver. So they said, really? I said, yeah, really. So, okay, what will you do? Could you know how to go by bus? said, obviously, when I'm abroad, I'm only living in hotels which are
Public
next to the
transport.
public
Yeah,
transport because
transport.
that's the only way I would want to travel. I refuse to travel by cabs
They're
abroad.
more organized and
They're more
structured.
organized, they're cheaper, please, and everything, all the aspects. But this is so hilarious. So I tell my cousins, I said, you all are Soboites and you are like the whole South Bombay thing. So, and then my one cousin gets offended and says, no, no, you see, I come to the suburbs also. I said, okay, you come
Because
to
the
the
nicest
suburbs.
places are anyway to eat in the suburbs
Yeah,
now.
so
Today I
now
tell
we
this to my
have,
friends.
but at least now with Instagram, Matunga has become very
Oh
popular, and
yeah,
nobody will ever say that where is Matunga.
Matunga.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
it's been a
agree.
fantastic thing. I have to ask you this: projects. It's difficult. It's not for the faint-hearted. You need to have big pockets, deep pockets. You need to have the kind of patience, the expertise, the kind of in-depth research that one needs to do for projects, because
Totally.
it's not the simplest thing. I mean, we could have 20 containers planning, and against that there's going to be one mini project which could take you a year. So what kind of a mindset do you bring when you are planning for a project? Can you run us through this whole thing, because it has always fascinated me as to how you do it, because this is me, somebody who still doesn't understand the sizes. So I have to like imagine in my head, okay, this is what the size could be, and I'm invariably just using the calculator and all to figure out how much is the terms of space and stuff like that. So can you tell me, how do you go about
So
it?
basically, project logistics is not transport. It's more
Yes.
like an orchestra. You have
Yes.
a whole band, an orchestra,
Correct.
different people playing different. So first of all, you have to look at the feasibility, risk mapping, technical study, route survey. Simple example is we did a route survey for a job in Leh and Ladakh 2 years before the project came up. When the actual project executed, it just didn't work out because somebody said they bought a court stay order, the road could not be made, and we just didn't know how to move a big heavy lift. We
Oh
were
wow.
standing there actually, and then luckily, because it was such an important project, 2 kilometers both hands, we had to have cops to stop the traffic.
Oh wow.
And we said, what happened? They said, he bought a court stay order, and we thought in 2 years it would go away and this road would become a straight road. So then the equipment was also not there to move that, nor was the road there to move that. So you're sitting there doing a big project and you never know. So these are some of the problems that come through it. Again, engineering interface, the weight distributions. These are big heavy lift planning, lashing methodology. So many bridges in India are not designed to take loads. They were
Correct.
only made during the British era to
Correct.
take out military tanks, which was
Agreed.
what, 45 tons.
Correct.
Now, of course, the new bridges are being made, but you still, if you have to go on this bridge, look at the span.
Yeah, it's
Unless
not
your
much.
axle cover this, it's like a ruler, if you put
Correct.
something on it, which just warp. So those kinds of big time planning, it's really, as you say, it's actually a white elephant. 2 years plus, you have to start planning, working to actually execute a job that finally comes up. So it's a, as you said, when you play an orchestra, you actually have each one playing a
Yes.
role in it. So it's not a single individual. It has to be a whole team behind you that actually makes a successful project. I cannot claim I'm Sharmil Amin, I did this. No, I have a whole batch of marine engineers, technical engineers, the whole operations team, the actual, even the small operator who moves the hydraulic axles at the back is also a very key important part of this whole thing. I remember when we were doing Indogulf at one time, we had one guy who had just joined us without understanding what these axles are. And hydraulic axle, these 8 tires, one and a
Yes.
half ton single one, and there's a big, huge piece going. He did not use his brain. He found a branch, thinking it's a mechanical trailer. He went to remove the branch.
Oh God.
Now, when you're moving such a big trailer, you cannot even stop it. And he actually went to put it in. He couldn't pull himself out. He lost his leg.
Oh God.
So, this is the kind of mistake that people don't understand when they do things like that. And it's a learning
Of
process for
course.
everybody, not just for myself, but for anybody doing
Agreed.
project. So you have to be so careful. Not only, it's like a aircraft also, which is so precise, so
Yes.
precision. So accidents won't happen to the bigger ones
Correct.
because they move so slowly. They happen to the medium-sized ones,
Ah.
and that nobody pays attention in the project. And that is the biggest freight ton component that happens in a project. You don't have
Ah.
everything which is over 150
Of course,
tons. You might have
absolutely.
4 and 5. The ones that you really have between 90 and 150 are the crucial ones. That's where the mistakes happen. So if I had to give a guide or make an SOP, every project would have a separate SOP.
Correct. Because you
Everyone,
can't rely on
can't
the
rely on
last
that. Now,
project.
if you're doing a fertilizer, I wouldn't compare that to a power plant.
Agreed.
Again, in power to a solar,
Correct.
nuclear, thermal.
Correct.
Each is a different one. You look at car plants, or you look at CKD kits from a car plant. You bring a whole car plant and you bring a CKD. They're two different, completely different.
Correct.
Every project has been a learning, has been an adventure, has been an absolute fabulous experience of growing. And that experience is what has then come back into you to inculcate and teach your people. Today, even when I make something, my people try to do it, and then they just for the heck of coming to show you, they're so scared because even if I don't want to,
Yes.
that little error you can see it's visible.
Correct.
They
True.
don't think, the new people think everything is computer, everything is AI. They don't realize that AI at some point doesn't work in
Of course.
practical life.
Of course, because you need to use your
Absolutely.
human brains for
Absolutely.
it. This
And
is
the biggest is the stakeholders alignment, your EPC, your clients.
Yes.
They are the single most important because they've trusted you.
Of
Every
course.
project of the Project Cargo, every equipment takes close to 2 years to manufacture.
Correct.
For them to reorder a thing when something has fallen down, this cannot imagine.
True, the kind of paperwork, the permissions
Insurance,
that you need to
and the
take.
claims on you back
Yes.
is always going to come back, even for a wrong documentation error. I remember before I joined this company, somebody had issued a clean house BL. Master was closed. They issued a house BL, gave it. Bad sea. All the packages fell down in the sea.
Oh God.
8 of them.
Oh my God.
How do you know? They sued us close to about 8.5 crores.
Wow.
And we had to go on fighting and fighting and fighting. And, I think it's still pending
Wow.
because we have no answer. And we don't even know how to claim those packages. They don't know how to claim them. Where do you lodge that FIR?
Correct.
On a clean house BL and a closed master.
God, that is like one of the nightmares kind of
And
a
at the
thing.
last minute, they were loaded in the night on the deck. So nobody even knew what the package numbers were to align it with the cost.
Oh God.
So, these are the errors which people make, and they try to do the shortcuts and never
Correct.
mind, ship is going, it is delayed, let's let it go. We didn't want that. And this is what I tell people. Please have patience. Please think.
Correct.
Look at a worst case scenario first, but they don't think.
True, because that makes me think, because we all have checklists, that you have like a checklist on a checklist on a checklist. We'll have plan A, then a plan B, then a plan C. So when we do our helicopters, this is exactly how it is. Because the first time we did a helicopter, it was an absolute disaster, and I learned how to hate Diwali. So staying in Bombay for Diwali is like my worst nightmare. It's full of claustrophobic and bad memories. But after that, you think that the next shipment will be easy, and the second and the third and the fourth. And then came a time when they gave us original skids, and it didn't come with dummy skids. And nobody ever mentioned, including the engineers, that the minute you land the chopper or you place the chopper on the ground, the heat will expand the span of the skid. So we ordered a normal 12-foot, 40-foot vehicle, but with a 12-foot span or a 11.5-foot span, because the width was only supposed to be about 7.5, 8. By the time we got it loading onto the vehicle, the width had expanded to 12. So how are you going to place it? Because it's millions of dollars worth. It's not fitting onto the goddamn thing. Then to find a 50-foot trailer with a 13.5-foot span to put it on so that it stays on all of that. And just like you mentioned that they had to shut down two parts of the road, taking it to old Juhu airport.
Ooh.
It's like a procession and a spectacle.
Spectacle.
People were actually stopping their cars to take photographs.
Photographs.
So I had one of my boys sitting on the vehicle, and I said, you know what, you will not let anybody touch that
Touch the
goddamn chopper.
chopper.
It's your life, and you'll make sure, and it's your job. And I told the trailer people, I said, kitna bhi fascination ho na, you're sitting on that, your dream is done. You will not let anybody come within 2 meters, 200 meters of the chopper. It is going to remain like this. And we actually had to stop traffic at 2 o'clock in the morning at Juhu airport to do it. And it was a nightmare. Thereafter, I caught my ears and I said, regardless of a dummy skid or an original skid, we are getting those 50-foot big ass trailers with 13.5-foot span. And in my list of the checklist of the questions to ask, the first question is dummy skid or original skid. And thereafter we are going to do. So I completely understand what you're saying. And then when you get, luckily for us, touch wood, we've not had where we've had cases filed against us, but it is always there at the back of your head. Because it's millions of dollars worth. What are you going to do? That brings me to my next question. You're so calm. And when you have things go topsy turvy, I mean, we are not just talking 1 crore, 2 crores, we are talking millions and millions and dollars and things like that. How do you maintain your peace and calm? Number two, how do you drive your team through this? Because obviously, first thing is going to be मेरा fault नहीं है, उसका fault है, मैंने तो ये बोला था, ये नहीं हुआ, फलाना. So we have the blame game going on. Ultimately, it stops with us
Buck
because
stops at your table.
buck stops at your table. But how do you navigate when your team morals say are low, or you feel that one is not being a team player or two are not being a team player, and that might hamper your project and all, considering the amount of experience that you have? How do you navigate that?
First of all, I have an excellent team.
Excellent.
Superb. The people I've been working with have been with me now at the same time as I started my career. So
Lovely.
literally the same team is with me now for 30 years. So if I shift an organization, they actually have moved with me.
Lovely.
So the moment you utter something, they understand the language you're talking in terms of project. I don't
I
even have to
think
tell
that's
them.
the most important.
So if you tell them, listen, I just give them the thing and they know where to start. They start it, they come back and they say, this one is like this. And then we sit down across the table,
Correct.
all of us, and the input of everybody is taken into before we even pen it down or decide how we are going to do this job. We
Damn
actually
good.
sit down and pen down that this comes like this is how the survey will be, this is how the first stage will start. This is, and of course, a whole team of people goes beforehand to any place to understand whether we are correct or not. It
Agreed.
may not always work.
Yes.
Simple example, we had a very big air shipment to do from, I think, Bangalore or Bombay, somewhere. And it was to be go by air. And somebody said, okay, the height is so high. And Ravi, being my colleague, being an airline captain, he said, this will not go in a freighter even if the nose opens and XYZ. So some smarty, and even they waited for the client to tell what to do. They said, no, it's not possible. It's standing, make it. And to the extent we moved it from Bangalore to Hyderabad airport, and then of course it, without
Yes.
understanding, it went. And first the airline said yes, we'll take it. So Bombay was not there. We shifted it to Bangalore. Bangalore didn't have it. We went to Hyderabad. Suddenly we have a claim on the table, and I look at the claim and I said, "What the hell is this claim? $25 million and all that kind of thing." And this is the claim from the client, and our office in Germany has sent the claim back to us. And I said, "What exactly went wrong?" And they said, this airline or this agent of this airline confirmed he would do this, and said, "Okay, great. You paid him? Yeah. Stop the check." We stopped the check. He took us to court. And believe me, we actually went to the court for next 3 years.
Oh, wow.
To the extent that we were one day traveling to that court in Andheri, and they sell these aircrafts on the road,
Yes.
right? And these judges don't understand what we talk. So my colleague captain bought that little plastic aircraft to show him that, sir, this is an aircraft. This is how the nose opens.
Correct.
When he knows it that his aircraft would not take it, he had no business to tilt it.
Correct. And if you're going to tilt a cargo, you have to take it in writing from the agent and the shipper
Absolutely.
that the cargo is
He tilted
tiltable.
it. You won't believe it, we won the case.
Lovely.
We then had to pay him, and all the legal fees also he had to pay me instead of
Oh,
the
wow.
3 years.
Did the guy get
And
out of business?
I don't know I don't know, because honestly, somebody had booked him. I don't even know who the guy was. Being the owner, I was saying summons in my name. I had to actually go to the court every single time, not even our lawyer. I had to attend it every time. So the first time the judge said, I'm 100% sure you don't even know what the case is all about. And I said, you're bang on. Right? People have done it, but you know what? I'm hands on to answer what the problem is and to
Correct.
sort it out. And so these are things which you never expect could
Yes.
happen. And
Yes.
you cannot lose your temper at your staff on this, because who do you blame? Nobody. You can't play a blame
True.
game in this. Your first action is to resolve.
Yes.
Your first action not to scream at anybody. So the calmness comes from not getting upset. The calmness comes from first solving the problem. After you solve it, you analyze why did it happen and who
Correct.
did it? Where did we go wrong? So that it doesn't happen a second time.
Correct.
And these things keep happening when you have people who are, want to do something hastily, want to impress you. They do these kinds of things. So that you have to take it in your stride, and instead of yelling at them, you have to teach them.
I have a different point of view on this. There's only that much that I can take the bullshit and I can do it. So, off late, I've had to apologize to a lot of clients, and not for something that was deliberately done, but it was just stupidity and carelessness. And I go like, but shouldn't this have been common sense as to you have to do? Apologizing is not a problem. Okay, and accepting that mistake, you pay for it in whichever fashion you resolve the issues. Luckily, we didn't have to pay for it, but we had to do it. What is a problem for me is that when your client then suddenly starts thinking, are you saying the right thing? Or when they trust you completely,
Completely.
and then those little fractions, those cracks start happening. That is what really pisses me off. And I tell people, I said, if you're in a bad mood, like just 2 days back, I told somebody, you're clearly not thinking in
Go
your
home.
head, go home. I said, if you're worried about your salary being cut, I won't even cut your salary. But don't stay here and
Yeah.
make my life miserable. Because you keep making mistakes that I have to then sit and check and solve them. And I have to anticipate what you are next going to do. I don't want to do that because I don't have the time to
Time.
anticipate your
Absolutely.
mistakes.
Absolutely.
So I said, don't do it. It's fine if you want to go home. I've actually sent people home. I said, and both men and women. So we give leave for women, paid leave during, so once in a month, they can take any time whenever they have their period. So we said, you please take it, menstrual leave. I tell the men, take leave. You want to
You
clear
also
your
probably
head?
have the same
Yes.
problem.
So I said, go. You want to smoke 10 times a day? Don't do it in front of me in my office. Please go take that day off. I don't care. I will just tell people you are on leave. But don't come here and have this thing on. Oh my God. I said, I don't run a drama school.
Absolutely.
If I had to run a drama school, I would have gone into theatre myself. So I said, don't do this. Nahi, madam, Vaisa. I said, there is no nahi, madam, Vaisa. Your carelessness is costing me money. It's costing the company money, which I'm not going to do. And it's so funny. And when it comes to the Gen Zs, sometimes I don't know what makes their mind tick only.
They
Like,
don't
yeah, so they want the money, they have overconfidence.
confidence.
And I go like, wow, man, I thought I'm nothing compared to them. Just yesterday, I interviewed a guy, he was in logistics, then he moved to in the food industry. He was running a bar and things like that with his friends. They're not doing well, so being very proactive, they said, let's go back to jobs because we are losing money, let's not do it, which I thought was brilliant.
Right.
So he's been out of the industry for 8 months. He was doing sales. So he wants to get back. He was very clear. Sharmila, I don't think I can do sales because I don't have those contacts, but I can do office work because, and then once I get back into the office work, I will do sales. I said, okay. So what are you looking at in terms of salary? He gave me a next figure. I said, but you've been out of work for 8 months. So you still have to get back into the groove, right? So he says, I didn't say I want this salary. I will negotiate. लेकिन मैं इससे कम तो नहीं करूँगा. I said, okay, no worries, I will come back to you. He wants a salary, even after negotiating, is what somebody gets after 12 years of experience.
This is the problem. You see, our logistics industry is now no more exciting.
Yeah.
It's not at all exciting for them because you have other allied industries where it pays them for doing nothing.
Yeah.
Look at the girls in all these Manish Malhotra, Sadhya Sachis. They earn lakh, 2 lakh rupees.
Just
Just
like that, no?
standing. No brains, no stress. Just go there looking nice,
Yes.
decorate yourself, and still earn money to blow up afterwards. They have the time and the money to go to holidays to Paris. You and I think we can do it? No. We do that holiday during our work.
Correct.
And
Take
that
that
also
one
just
day
that
off,
one day off and do
or
it.
like the
Or
extra
not say
day.
that, okay, I have to go on holiday. I probably haven't been on a holiday for donkey's years. My holiday might be, oh, I have to go to my farm. Again, a responsibility.
Correct.
Just be wine, be relaxed.
Correct.
But a holiday, I cannot think of. Holiday may for me is like I went for a wedding to America, I stayed 2 more days. Holiday for me is okay, I'm doing a project in Australia, I'm going to have 1 day free, I do this.
Correct.
Holiday for me is I did a project in Germany, I'm going there to pick up the cargo, I'll stay there for 1 more day and then I come back because the cargo is coming back. So for us, it's not different. These guys are very clear. We want our holidays, we want our money, and we will do what we want to do. If you don't, it's okay, we find another job. And there are easier jobs to find, there are easier ways of earning the money
Yeah.
than the hard work. And nobody in the next gen, like
Yes.
when we were there, we were learning from
Yes.
somebody who was there.
Correct.
If you ask me today, anybody is there in the present learning? No. They
No.
are not learning. They do not want to learn. They want it the easy way around. They think they can sit on paper and get it done. No. I was actually in the port. I was actually on a barge. I've done it the practical way.
Correct.
And that experience and learning can never be on paper.
Agreed.
I
Totally.
totally tell you for that. I remember when we did the Hyundai car plant, we're sitting in Canada, it's getting dismantled. I was watching it and the way they were stuffing it, and I was like, all the equipment that they have here, I doubt Chennai has got this equipment for us to. equipment to even move this.
Correct.
I told him, what are you stuffing? We don't have a 20-ton forklift in India. We can't do it. And we're doing it. And when we finally came to Chennai, whatever we were thinking of there absolutely resonated and we could never do it. It never worked. Whatever we're doing on the paper every week, everybody did everything and nobody realized right outside of Chennai port there was a railway shutdown.
Oh.
So everything else could probably leave when the shutdown happened, normal trucks. How do you take out the whole car press of 110 tons?
Then
So
how? What
your
did you
whole
do?
planning goes haywire, and only in the night when they could give us a shutdown, it could go. Now, heavy lifts are never moved in the night.
Correct. Security.
Roads,
Safety.
safety, such big packages, how do you even see the tires in the night?
Correct.
So we had to come out of the port, again outside of port, it was right crowded Chennai, and we had to
Correct.
go to Sri Perumbadur. My
Oh.
gosh, what a nightmare that was. And they said, if you are not here, we are not giving you this job. So I was having this little hotel room in Chennai, saying I'm there. And in those days, our mobile chips, we used to change our numbers.
Correct.
So the only way you could probably have a mobile
Yes.
in all the cities. And say, yeah, madam is here only. So they'll call me and I'll probably fly back or rush back. So I said, this is too much. Let's have a meeting every Friday. And we used to make these lovely color charts every Friday to give them that this is how we'll do this.
Correct.
When the ship would come, nothing of it because Chennai port said, listen, you got a 45,000 ton, we have no space.
Correct.
I'm throwing your ship out. So half the cargo would be here, ship would go out,
Oh God.
come back. So whatever planning of dispatch is completely out of control because these are situations not in your control.
What a colossal nightmare.
I know. And 45,000 freight tons at one go.
Wow.
Second-hand plant. How do you even clear it
Of
immediately?
course. Absolutely.
But Chennai being Chennai, and we was something when we were doing in the planning, I said, you know what? Even if you have the full ship, we cannot have one bill of lading.
Correct.
Let's break the bill of lading. And so we went in for 8 bills of lading.
That saved you.
And that saved us. And therefore I said, you know what is wrong with you? All my officers are only doing your documents. So I said, sir, such a big project to your, Toyota's coming after
Correct.
this. So please, we have to do this. And that is how we were able to, kind of get cargo out and not incur detention, demurrage and things like that.
How fascinating is that? This is why I think that we have such amazing stories, and there is nobody to tell them and for the Gen Zs to learn from because they are the future. When I look at the kids, I was invited to talk to the kids of Tech Mahindra 3 days ago
Oh, lovely.
across all their universities. They have 4 universities in India, and they were all there. So we were doing a webinar, or we were doing a Zoom thing, and the first thing I asked them is that have you guys got into this because of pressure, like, friends, family, or are you here because your parents are somewhere connected, or do you really know about the logistics part? I didn't have too many hands being raised. And I was looking at them and I was going like, wow, this is the Gen Z, and at one point they are going to have their own companies or they are going to grow up in companies and they are going to go on. And I actually told them, I said, you know what? If you guys can't talk to me across the screen now, what are you going to do when you get out into the real world? Because it's full of pressure, it's full of agility, you have to be fluid. And one of my favorite dialogues out of one of my favorite TV programs, it's called SWAT, and it doesn't come that much here. I think Amazon is not doing a good job in getting the new seasons out, and the captain always says, let's stay fluid. So the first time I heard, I was like, what is this term? It's just some American term like everything else which is there. And then I realized that let's stay fluid means that you've always got to be constantly in motion because you don't know when what is going to happen. And they are SWAT, right? So they have to today, 1 minute they are being called for a hostage situation, second, it could be a car accident. And I'm like, we don't have such dramatic things in our lives, but when things go south, they really go south. So if our brains stop working, then how are we going to do? So I actually started telling my teams, what, and when I'm writing emails and all, I tell them you need to be fluid. Now, how much they understand is a different thing altogether. But I figured out that if I was going to be fluid in my head, at least even if that 5% went down around to your stakeholders,
them, yeah.
it resonates. And you have to start anticipating. And what I love about our industry is it teaches us a 360 degrees holistic approach, and it teaches us how to be on our feet, not just at work, but also in our personal crisis. Everybody has a different way of dealing with crisis or with problems and all. It's such a fascinating thing. We've never had this kind of a conversation. So I should say thank you to Cargo Talk for having this
Having us
podcast, because
together.
there's such gems which are coming out. I've been dying to ask you this question ever since, and I've been wondering. I said, no, I would leave this for the podcast to ask you this. You are the only one that I know, gender non bias, who has graced the cover of every single magazine, every single newsletter, every single newspaper that we have in logistics. Besides that, even the mainstream magazines. You've probably won awards non-stop. So, like Lata Mangeshkar and Asha Bhosle, you've won everything multiple times over. Do you sometimes feel the pressure of being Sharmila Amin?
All the time.
Yeah,
All the time. You have to understand that we didn't have mentors.
correct.
People are looking at people like you and me to be the mentors.
Correct.
Now, to be the mentor, and we come back to the question of your public life and your private life.
Yes.
How public are you well behaved? And
Correct.
how are you in public for you to be, for people to respect you
Yes.
and say that, I would like to be like XYZ.
Right.
And that XYZ stress is a bit on you. To
Yes.
maintain that is very high. To do that, I come back to a real small story on. I was once sitting and doing a custom clearance work, and this guy came and says, "This officer is not listening." So I, of course, told my secretary, "Get me a pass, I'm going to the port." Now I went to the port and I realized that these guys are never going to listen to me if I don't do something about it. So I decided I must give all my custom exam without understanding what it was at that young age of 23, 24. And I sat through all the exams. Now I was so impatient that normally you give your that category 2, 1,
Category
and
G,
then 9.
sorry, H
I mean, in our
category,
age
then.
it went to 2, 1, and 9.
Okay.
So you can't give your 1 and 9 in the same year. I was so impatient. I did up to 1. And then someone said, "You know what? The 9 is in Pune." So I went all the way to Pune to do my 9 and came back. And for my Viva, I had the 3M3 commissioners.
Correct.
And they said, "How the hell did you manage it?" And I said, "You know what? So the pressure of continuing
Yes.
to grow and be there where it is. And the only way I thought to do is to show to them that I can also do the same things that you men are doing.
Correct.
And the only way to do it was to add education to every
Yeah.
sphere of my life that I kept studying into.
Yes.
Whilst doing that, you automatically get recognized not only just for your educated level, and then, of course, the companies that you worked for. And I
Correct.
come back to say, I have done some of the most nicest and prestigious projects of the first that happened in the country. So, by virtue of that same people that move from organization to organization, the word of mouth also
Yes.
there counts.
Yes.
The respect level counts.
Correct.
I worked with an organization which was so respectful in the industry, starting my career with AFL,
Yes.
that the Gazda family, being one of the oldest in the business, allowed me to grow to such a level that they gave you all the encouragement that you needed to be where you
Which
are.
is very
Which is
important.
very important that you have good mentors.
Yes.
And I always said behind all my success have been men. Family is there always.
Of course.
You spend more time when you're working doing outside. So that
Sure.
has been one of the reasons. As I kept learning and growing with companies, organized, people realized this, with all the men, with all the boys, there's only one man.
Correct.
So that man impression keep coming, and people, like you said, it's
Yes.
a fascination to understand, like it happened to me.
Correct.
So when I wanted to be this, and then, as I said, that ambition and goal was always at the
Correct.
back of the mind, that I have to be where my father was. I have to reach where my father was.
Correct.
And that ambition went to such a level that the learning process happened, the ambition happened, the interviews happened,
Right.
and that took you where you are.
Correct.
Of course, it reaches a point now you say, you know what, I want to be on the jury.
Yes.
I would like to give these to the young woman coming up.
Correct.
And this is what I would like to do now. And that is what we are now doing. Still, it continues. And still, I have to refuse. So, take a small example of about, I think, 3 weeks back. The the new Gati Shakti Vidyalaya that's set up. They sent it, call came to me, and I said, again, I think all these calls come for the awards, come for
Correct.
this, come for that.
Correct.
You don't have time. By mistake, the call came direct. And I said, you know what, you got the wrong number. No, please don't disconnect. We're trying to get hold of you, and we just managed. And I said, I'm calling from the Gati Shakti Vidyalaya. I said, what have I got to do with it? No, we would like you to come and teach somebody. And I said, you know what, do me a favor. The best way to send me an email, so you don't look at the email, you ignore it, and then
Correct.
throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
So that email must have come, and then he called me and said, did you get my email? And I said, yeah, I'm looking at it. I call you back, put it down. And I really didn't look at it. He calls again after half an hour. Did you look at the email? And I said, okay, I'm looking at it. And I'm hold on. And then I said, what is this? Then, yeah, we'd like you to come and teach the Air Force officers. And I said, the who? The Indian Air Force boys. And I said, where is this? Trivandrum. It's not even in Bombay. It's not even in Baroda where the Gati Shakti
Correct.
Vidyalaya is. And then I said, just give me some time. I'll call you back. I need to check the dates. And literally I said, you know what? I'm not there. I'm busy. I'm traveling on this. The only date I can give you is 15th of Jan, one day. And there are like 5 topics. And I said, fine, no problem. I said, give me any one. It's okay for me. But he sends the email. He says, not one. Can you do 2? And I'm like, did I not promise one? And I said, but I will not stay. I'll only stay one day. And then I went for the one at 9:30. Started my first session. We didn't take a break. I went on till 1:45.
That's
From
awesome.
9:30. But I looked at the discipline and these.
Yeah.
And I said, what can we do? I mean, we are not able to do anything for our country. When he
Agreed.
asked me to come and look at these guys, so disciplined, so much wanting to learn. I mean, I have full respect for them. And I said, you know what? Now that you've done the Air Force, you're probably going to do the Army and you're going to do the Navy. And they said, will you? I said, I am most happy to come and do it for you for all of them.
Correct.
After that, said, can you even go to the port? I said, of course I would love to, because Vision Gym, nobody has seen it still.
Of course.
And it's India's first automated port.
Correct.
It was such a fascination for me to take them first to the old port, which was nothing.
Of
It was like
course.
a little of these boats, which
Yes,
are
yes.
similar boats. Of course, beautiful sea, dolphins, but the new port is something which you have to believe, to see it, to believe it. Even for me, it was a learning. In so many years, my experience, I never realized that we are now on the same level as Singapore port. We were sitting on the top where we
Yes.
could actually see the ship moving on its own, everything through a computer system,
Oh, lovely.
lifting the containers, going into a yard bay area. Then the whole MSC transshipment hub is down there.
Oh, lovely.
It was absolutely fascinating. The
Wow.
breakwater that they have made, normally you can't take a car. They made it so wide that cars could go on it.
Ooh,
And
wow.
this is phase 1. The phase 2 extended beyond.
Oh, nice.
The next phase is the warehouses coming up around it, and the people, and the things that will grow around it.
Oh,
We
wow.
here in Bombay now reached a point of stagnation.
Correct.
At one time when we were doing ports, the port was so full, my cargo used to be standing on the road outside at Kanak Bandar. So when I had these foreigners coming in from ABB or Governor, they said, Sharmina, our cargo. I said, you look at your package, 200 tons. Who can carry on his head and take it away? Please don't panic. This is India.
Correct. It'll all have
They
to.
could not handle it. They went back. They said, we can't see this. Because right outside that were the slums. And those poor children were there.
Correct.
These Germans went berserk. They said, I can't see this. He went to his room. He didn't come out for 2 days. And I said, what is wrong with him? The cargo has to move. He said, I can't handle it. He said, I've never seen this in my life. So, I've seen those extremes of countries,
Yes.
and you've seen.
True. True. I have to ask you on basis of this. Are you going to write your autobiography, or
I thought
is
of a lovely title now that
and
we
who
thought
is?
about it.
Are you writing your autobiography? Is somebody going to write your
I would
memoirs?
love somebody to write the memoir when I
And
talk.
what do
because-
you want to call it?
Very nice title I found for it.
Yes, please.
I was going to name it Heavy Lifts,
Yes.
Light Feet.
Fabulous. We should have this paid. You should do a
Because the
copyright of
industry
this.
is heavy,
Yes.
but the spirit will stay agile.
You have to copyright this. Immediately, please do a trademark on this so that nobody uses this title.
Who else will write it?
But you are such a fascinating person. You have such amazing stories to say. So when we are at a party and we bump into each other so often, right? But we don't land up. But if you're in the periphery and all, you'll end up listening to each other's
Absolutely.
conversations, and you know what somebody is talking, or we are hanging around here and talking. You know so many people. Just out of curiosity, how many people are on your phone list? How many numbers have you got on your phone list?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I've never checked.
So we were having a conversation, Tej, Neeram and I, a couple of weeks back. And Tej says that, I have got some like 4,000, 5,000 contacts. Or I think he mentioned more. I can't remember, but I know it was like a couple of, and I have saved it. He's the tech guy, so he
Yeah,
he has
he
all
knows
of
where
this.
to save
So I said, I must have got like 2,000-3,000 numbers, and I don't do, but whatever the numbers. So I just opened my contact list to see. I had 25,000 numbers. I have
Fantastic.
25,000 numbers. And at that point, I realized, shit, man,
Yeah,
that
more than
Chaitali
ever
from
before.
that day to
To
this,
this.
not having a cell phone, having to share a cell phone, how much have I grown that I have 25,000 people on my phone? And I went like, huh? That's sometimes it just, do you have those?
So the difference between you and me is I always work for somebody. I never had my own
Yeah.
business. So every organization that I went through, this is the fifth company I'm restructuring. Restructuring in terms of financial restructuring, not people restructuring.
Okay.
Big losses, big mess ups, those kinds of
Correct.
restructuring I'm doing. Every of the five companies I did. Now, example, I was in Panalpina, which had 18,000 people officially on the payroll, 30,000 which are not supposed to be on the Panalpina payroll, and
Oh.
globally.
Oh.
And so I was Panalpina's first NOF graduate sent from India to study. They send us for 1 year to
Yes.
Basel, Switzerland.
Correct.
So those friends. So I have about three phones. My one is my company phone, which has only my company work, and because it's of course
Correct.
co-linked to our system. One is my personal one, which is my college friends, my school friends, my university friends, my family, extended family, and all that. Third is my the social work phone. So I have a small farm, about
Yes.
115 kilometers from here. So the all the social things that I do, whether it's I'm on the Indo-Belgium chambers or the other, I'm on the board
Yes.
of 8 companies. So those are all, some are listed, some are private limited. So all those are in the third phone. So if I have to count all of those, I've actually not done it. But I will one of these days for
Okay,
sure
then
try
I
to do
think
it.
all of us are going to. I don't know what the other word is. Somebody will have to call Karan Johar to find out what is the word, because I learned FOMO for the first time over there. We'll have to find out another word for what it feels to be, but I'm sure it must be then more than a lack of numbers. How do you manage your time? Because the more you grow, the more popular you become, the bigger you become, more responsibilities. We get divided among so many things. How do you manage your time?
I plan. I plan my time very well. It's like yesterday, one of our colleagues, Arun was here from Delhi. And he was sitting in my office saying, I want to understand how to do projects. And I said, the first thing is I do planning. And he says, how do you do it? And I was showing him this events to attend Sharmila Amin. He was looking at the calendar and saying, my gosh, you are till May booked. I said, I didn't want to go beyond May. I have a June, July also, but I just stopped at May because
Correct.
that sheet could not
True.
take beyond May.
Correct.
And I said, you look at these events, and then I look at it, do I want to attend it? I don't want to attend it.
Correct.
So, yes or no.
Yes.
Then you have your own personal family time. My
Yes.
mom is 88 years old. Uh, on and off, she doesn't keep good health. So, and she's at that stage, where she's like very scared of
Yes.
herself, of doing anything. If she doesn't see you around, she gets
Yes.
paranoid. To
Yes.
the extent I told her, you know what? If I'm going somewhere, she'll be, what time will you be back? If I say 10:30 and it's 11 or 12, she started the panic button. She's calling the driver. She's making the servants call in between wherever I am. And so I told her, you know what? I was young, beautiful. You never called. Nobody called me. 30, 40. Then I mean, when I went for Hyundai car plant, I was there for like 20 days. My niece was born. Nobody called me. My sister-in-law said, we did call, but not a single call reached you. So, I said, when I was young, nobody called. And now you're asking, what time I'll come? Nobody is looking at me now at this age and you're asking what time I'll come, I'll not come. I mean, I can't get over this. So I actually plan my day.
Yeah.
Even in the morning when I wake up today, like I'm thinking today is going to be a bad day. And I think, oh my God. My sister was saying, are you there for lunch or not? Because every day you do this and the food gets wasted. And then they say, we give you for dinner. But they're not doing dinner also, I'm not there. We'll give it to you next day. We'll give you the next day, and the next day never comes. So, the food gets wasted for some of the things which you don't plan for.
Yeah.
Like today's day, I said, no, today I'm very, very busy. So, I'm today planning my day very well. I have a podcast, I have to go upstairs, I have to get ready. These guys came and I was not ready. The door was open. I said, come inside. And they're saying, but how to come inside? I said, come inside and sit till I get ready and come out.
Correct.
I was downstairs with my mother. So then I came up. Now I know after this I have to go for someone's house for high tea. After that, we both had the same wedding. And tomorrow I'm thinking, what do I have tomorrow? And says, listen, don't tell me you have something. You already have a lunch with me. And I said, do I? And I don't like to eat. If I get my home food, I'm very happy. I get
Correct.
excited eating my Gujarati food.
Yeah.
So this also I'm thinking how to avoid it. And my brother's saying, you know what? You haven't been to the farm for 1 year. I am the one doing up and down. Tomorrow's your turn to get the vegetables. And I'm thinking, yeah, but I've got something already on my, I can't go to get vegetables. I ask the guy to come by train or bring it. So I plan. I really plan my day how I want to do it. Of course, it doesn't work as per
Of
plan.
course.
Sometimes. Huh?
Yeah,
But
I
most of the
completely
time,
agree.
I go on the calendar that I maintain and I try to
So I can't live without my calendar, and my day never goes as planned. If it goes as planned, I would be very grateful. My mother started calling me in the night. That's the job my dad has, and I was surprised the first time she called, and I'm like, "Why are you calling?" No, I'm just wondering where you are. I said, "I'll come home." 10 minutes later, there's another call. I said, "What happened? Did something go wrong?" And she says, "No, I'm just wondering what time you're coming home." But I said, "I just told you that I'm coming home in some time." Yeah, and then the next time, and then the next time, and then the next time. So I just realized that maybe when she doesn't get sleep in the night because of her illness and everything, so now she's taken over my dad's job. And for her, the worst thing was to have the house keys. So we moved houses right now, and the keys are there. And if I'm coming late, everybody's sleeping. I don't want to wake them up because she's anyway not going to open the door. I'll sometimes wake up my dad, and she'll go like, "Tu kya re avi?" Because she has this accuse. Her worst thing was that my dad and I mean, we all lived in that house. My parents have been married 54 years. They lived in that house for 54 years. My dad never had keys to the house. Never. I'm I'm 49. Till we moved 3 months ago, I didn't have keys to the house. So she's like, I will open the door. And even when she was with a walker, she would open the door. But now that she's on the bed and all, she hates the fact that I have house keys. I'm like, if I don't get house keys now, then when am I going to get house keys? I get asked the same question. Are you there for breakfast? No. Or yes. Are you there for lunch? No. Are you there for dinner? No. Acha, when are you there? My nieces will go like, oh, but you're never around. I said, Bacha, somebody has to go and work, right? And to get all the money and everything. But you need to be here and you need to do this. I said, I will try and come back and I will do it. But yes, life gets busy.
I use that sentence with my mother
Huh.
that somebody has to work to get the money to them.
Yes.
But you eat so much. You have enough money. You don't need to work.
So my nieces go, do you know how much money I have in my piggy bank? I said, yes. Okay, I can manage. You don't have to do this. I said, that's so sweet of you. Then Adya once, when she wanted something and I went like, listen, the credit cards are maxed out. She's like, I am never asking you for anything in my life again. I said, all right. 5 minutes later, she forgot that she had said all of this and she went like, Mai, can I get this? I said, we will look at it tomorrow because today's budget is over. But Sharmila, before we end up, what is your advice to the Gen Z? Because, honestly, they are the future.
I had made a whole list of things that they should need to do it. I mean, we learnt it the hard way.
Yes.
Advice to Gen Z is build depth, not just visibility.
Okay.
Learn fundamentals before chasing designations.
Yes.
Digitalized skills are essential, but credibility is earned on ground realities. And of course, patient compounds. If they don't do this,
what do you think the future for our industry is? Do you see a future for us?
with all the shipping lines, the global ones coming in, the smaller players will actually get wiped out. Because this is a very cost intensive industry.
It is.
The cost of money in this country is tremendous.
Yeah.
And that money power is not available in the country unless we have a very robust money system. And the clients, you see the credit period that they expect, we have become like bankers.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You're 90 days, 120 days. We are in a service industry. We are not
Correct.
in a manufacturing.
Agreed.
That your key did not work or your plant did not operate.
Correct.
We finished our service. Please, sir, we've already taken 30 days. Please pay us on the day or take another week, take 20 days.
Correct.
Days. But 90 days, 120 days is like a whole year that you don't get
Correct.
paid. So that is going to be the real problem for everybody to continue to survive.
The cash flow is going to be
That
an issue.
is going to be the biggest issue more than anything else. People are there. There are one too many people to do it. But the problem will be, do we have the skilled people?
Yes.
Because people still don't want to come into this line of business. And in India, everybody wants their child to be a doctor, engineer, have some professional degree, even today. And that pressure is so high. We may think it's not there, but it's still there. Even with AI is there, whatever it is, that is there. The good people still don't want to stay in the country. Yeah.
I genuinely don't understand why they don't want to stay, considering all the crap that is happening world over. We are just so much more better.
We're so lucky. Can you
so
imagine you get up in the morning, you have to wash your own vessels, clothes, and we are not trained to do that.
Imagine if
And
you're
then
just
you-
walking out and you're not coming home because somebody like,
Yeah.
ICE is going to come and pick you up
Okay,
and then just
look
take
at
you.
what's happening in Canada, a place
Yes.
like that where nobody expected a young kid to kill so many.
Yeah,
I mean,
I totally.
So I think it's going to be a great future as a country because we have the right prime minister in place. But the financial implications of continuing, and we are one too many in this industry. one to many. You go globally, you don't find so many companies wherever you go, whether it's a transport or whether it's in freight forwarding, whether even shipping for that matter. Every country has one big major. You don't find somebody in France having we have 10 big shipping lines. No, we don't even have one. Even that we are not able to do properly. So we need to either get ourselves all consolidated as one, work as one team, or learn like the Japanese do. If they're bidding for a job, say in India, they will sit down and they will say, "Do you want India?" And each one's profit is kept by them and they share it.
I think
And that is the
collaboration is
success,
the
is
way.
the way, only way, I personally if you ask me.
But I feel that as an industry, we are very insecure,
Yeah.
and we are also very hungry. We are very fragmented, and there's this huge growing divide that I see day by day, where the SMEs and MSMEs are on one
One
side,
side.
and you have the big players. What's also
The
happening is
middle
that this
one don't
middle
know.
ones are just, so the SMEs are to like disappearing, or nobody accounts for them. Sometimes I feel like I'm barking against the wrong wall or against the wrong thing, because I keep telling people that if you're going to pay attention to the stakeholders, whether it's the shipping lines or the airlines, that if you keep paying attention only to your bigger
Big one.
ones, what happens to the smaller ones?
Absolutely.
They're like, it is not like that, but our management. I said, but you all don't even respect small agents anymore. So where does this disconnect stop? And when did it start off? Don't you think that companies like ours also deserve the respect for the work
Absolutely.
that we are doing? Because not all big clients
Yeah.
can be serviced. There are so many small clients and hidden clients whom you can take advantage of.
Absolutely.
What I find, and which is a worrisome thing for me, is that we are losing our sense of respect, respecting people who've been there, but just because the circle is over, and when they were at the top, you were doing, oh, sir, and madam, and things like that. But when you're coming down, you don't want to be associated anymore, and you find excuses of not being associated. And the only reason you want to be seen is because that person is like very popular. I have people
That's
coming
a
out of the woodworks telling me, oh, madam, you're everywhere. I said, but I'm to always here.
Yeah.
Your way of looking at me
Looking at
has
me is
changed,
different.
because now you see me everywhere, but I was there. I don't have to be invited for me to still be important and relevant in this
Absolutely.
industry, which I think is a scary thing, and I hope that it works out better for us. Final question. What's your next part? What do you want to do now? What is left to be achieved? What are your goals for the future?
Scale responsibility.
Yeah?
Mentor intentionally.
Okay.
Institutionalized by knowledge.
Okay.
Next phase is less about personal milestone and more about ecosystem building.
That's very interesting. That's very, very interesting.
What more can I do?
Yes, because
I worked with the world's largest companies,
yes.
and then I thought that is it, I've achieved it. What more can I? The ambition, the goal was all done. Now I can only, as I said, contribute, mentor, grow people. That's all I do.
You think that 18-year-old, 20-year-old Sharmila Amin is happy with her success, and she thinks that she's crossed her father's
Oh, yeah.
achievements
Long ago.
long ago?
Long, long ago.
So the soul is happy,
Soul is
and
happy.
and content that I have
Absolutely,
achieved
absolutely,
everything.
absolutely. Sometimes like my mom always says, who are you working for? And
Correct.
what are you working for? When I see you so tired in the evening sometimes,
Correct.
she wonders, what am I doing and for whom am I doing? And then when I
Correct.
think back, like you, I'm not married. I have no responsibility from a family side or
Yes.
children's side and all that. So my life is happy-go-lucky. I can do what I want to do. And you're right. What next? Huh? You've achieved it all.
Yeah.
So that's the only way to do it. So I look after the village school.
That's very
where
nice.
where my farm is. And so whatever they don't have,
Yes.
ensure that they have the computers, the school building. They didn't have toilets last time. We've done those 30 toilets. Give them computers. Everything that they need, I go there. Books, every year 80,000 notebooks are given.
Wow.
And they don't have shoes. So from kindergarten to the 10th standard, those little slippers are bought for them, because that's all you can contribute to yourself. Nothing more you can leave. And I personally believe it's only your name that you leave.
Yes, I agree.
Nothing else is
Totally.
going to remain here. I had a sister who just expired suddenly in our arms,
Yes.
and then you think, what did I do for? Like, when I look at the buildings of Bombay, my father constructed them, my sister designed them.
Wow.
All the known buildings.
Wow.
Whether you look at the Bombay Stock Exchange, the Council Hall, police headquarters, all the hotels at the airport. But what did they leave? A good name.
Correct.
And that's exactly what I would like to do now. We've
That's so
achieved it
nice.
all, but
Yes.
just leave a good name. If people think of you in the, This
Yes.
was a nice human being.
Correct.
That's it. You're not going to
Correct.
do anything else. I
True.
don't want anybody to say that, she did this to me or she did that to me.
Yes.
So I can find thousands of people who stayed with me in the companies and who have become nice people, grown.
Correct.
They're in other organizations, and you never begrudge them. You feel proud that
Correct.
they left you and they went somewhere better.
True.
But your core team is still with you.
Correct.
But the others who went away, I'm happy for them.
Correct.
I'm really happy for them. And if they still have something, they still pick up the phone and say, "Can you help? Can you give me the business?" And that's all you can do now.
Correct.
That's
Of
all
course.
I can do now at this point of stage.
I
in my
think it's
career.
very profound. So when I was interviewing Forum, and I went like, now I think that I've kind of at one point, I lost a very young friend. He was only 26, and there were about 3,000, 6,000 people when he died. One of the industrialists, and the first thought came to my mind was how many people would come when I die, and I thought probably five of them. And then I was telling Forum, I think I've reached a number where I'll have 100 people, and out of those 100 people, probably 99.9% would say she was a good human being. And that is very
Very
important,
important.
because I constantly am trying to find the fire in my belly to keep doing, because there's a lot more to be done. Obviously, I still have a lot more years to work for, and to satisfy the luxuries needs that my father says are ever growing. But having said all of that, it's been so nice talking to you. We've never had this kind of a conversation, and there are so many parallels in the way you've got your journey done, I have my journey done. And it's important that we've had this meeting, because it's important to tell people that two successful women can be friends, can wish well for each other, and can coexist in harmony without wanting to up each other.
Absolutely.
As long as you are confident in who you are, and self confidence plays a very important role, it doesn't matter how the industry positions you or how you position yourself, you still can be friends. And it's so important that this message goes that not every woman is not a woman's best friend. You can have your own team cheerleading you, which could be of full women, because we don't necessarily have to be at loggerthroats with each other. We can still be our own selves, find the acceptance, and continue doing the work. And if you're lucky enough to be on Sharmila Amin's list in the three phones, please be sure that you will get a basket of veggies. But if you are not on that list, you know that you are not on the list of her favored people. I shall tell you that she sent me veggies only twice in the whole time that we have known. So so now I can tell you openly that I'm not on her list of favored. Please change that and put me onto your favorite list, so I can get her veggies that come from the farm, are spoken about by everyone. I got onions as a gift from her. We use them close for 6 months or 7 months.
White onions.
The white onions. 6 months or 7 months. I am still waiting for my promised the brinjals, the tomatoes, the kakadis. If I get them, I will shoot another message and tell you the basket has come from Shamila Amin. Thank you for staying with us. We look forward to seeing you for another episode with yet another interesting woman. But Sharmila, this will be special always down the line. And thank you very much.
Not at all. I'm actually looking forward to doing one with you.
Okay.
For
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
And that would be really interesting as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.